love a good book fair. After all, it's a staple of any 90s kid's childhood. There was no better feeling than getting your hands on the book order form, smelling the paper. The paper printed by greedy corporate hands that pander to children, and selling books for astronomical prices. But hey, at least you would get a free prize, like a pencil or stickers or something. They say the money goes to schools, which sounds nice on the surface, but that's a whole different can of worms. Let's bring it back. And not one book fair could compete with the Scholastic Book Fair, not even close. Back when we talked about the Kids WB Readerama event, where you could hold reading competitions in the classroom, I got a hankering for some reading and sought out this interesting book series by Scholastic called Pokémon Pop Quiz. Let's check it out. Of course, my journey into the world of Scholastic began where they all do, on the internet. Let's see. Harry Potter? I love Harry Potter! Can't wait for the 5th book to release. Aha! There we are. Here you can find a hub of the Scholastic Pokémon team-up, featuring the Pokémon Chapter book series, which is chock full of inaccuracies. You remember what they said about the GS Ball? Aye aye aye. The Pokémon Junior series, which coincidentally has the same name as that awful card game I played with Brandon, contained shorter stories based on favorite Pokémon characters. Like Meowth the Big Mouth? Huh. Next you had book adaptations of the movies, and finally Pokemon novelty books. Here you could purchase fan handbooks like Extreme Pokemon to the Extreme Raw. Sorry. And hiding down at the very bottom you'll find the Pokemon Pop Quiz line. The first book, based on our Kanto adventure, promises almost 300 Pokemon brain teasers, 26 amazing Pokemon facts? Only 26. I mean, wow, okay. And special game corners. Good old Scholastic, good at printing books. Not so good at marketing them, but hey, let's dive in and see how much we know. In the original Pokemon Pop Quiz, we have many things to look forward to. Welcome to the Pokemon Pop Quiz. I am Professor Oak. Many people consider me a Pokemon expert. Oh boy, blah blah blah. The Pokemon League has asked me to prepare this book. Yeah, those guys are needy, let me tell ya. Okay, so first we start with name that Pokemon. The Gangster of the Sea? Tentacruel, I guess, right? Some of these are very easy, like 3 coconuts for heads, baby in a pouch, hooves stronger than diamonds, but some of these are tricky. Maybe the next section will be a little easier. Pokemon up close. Guess the Pokemon by a close-up image. Like, whose eyeball is this? Okay, that one's easy too. Although the first image might throw you for a spin. Hardcore fans know that this is the clockwise swirl of a Poliwag. Yeah, and when it evolves into Poliwhirl, its swirl will change directions. More true, false, and multiple choice. Like, which move doesn't exist? Unfortunately, that answer is Magic Crush. But I have a question. Why doesn't that move exist? What the heck? That's an amazing name. Magic Crush! Which Pokemon only lives in cyberspace? Obviously Porygon. We have studied that fact a lot over our journey. Then we come to... What? No! No. Pokemon Stadium 1? I know this isn't related to that awful game, but why would you name it that even? Anyway, we have to choose which Pokemon would be the victor in a one-on-one battle. It turns out that I have stalkers out there because this book also has some very specific questions about my own journey. Like, what is Professor Oak's relation to Brandon? What did the professor give me for bringing back his package? And what were the boys on the television set in my house doing? I mean, guys, this is getting a little scary. Carly Enton, I'm sure you're a very nice person, but please stay away from me. Also, more importantly, what does PP stand for? As you go on in the book, there are more specific questions catered to our Kanto adventure, which is amazing to think back on. Every once in a while, you're hit with a Pokematch game where you match items to their descriptions. But that's child's play. I guess Mewtwo's origin story is just commonplace knowledge nowadays. $5 for Team Rocket's Darkest Secrets over here, $5. Anyway, here's one of those game corners the website promised, egging you on to name the element each of these groups share. And then we move on to the episode expert questionnaire. These can only be answered by those who have kept up with the Pokemon anime, that horrible cartoon knockoff based loosely on our own adventures. Any character likeness to people's living or dead are completely coincidental. My personal qualms with Ash Ketchum aside, even a person who has lightly viewed the anime might be able to work out these problems. Like, why did Ash's Krabby get sent to Oak's lab? Obviously because it was a fake. Not gonna lie, I read this wrong, and now you did too. And a question about Porta Vista, which is obviously referring to the Tentacle episode, not the band episode Beauty and the Beach for reasons. Oh, stop! Who's my trainer? Gotta match these teams to their respective anime owners. And I like the Team Rocket representation here. Speaking of Team Rocket, they claim that they suffer from CFS, chronic failure syndrome. We should set up a GoFundMe. Whoa, Gloom! You okay, buddy? And then we come to Map It, where you try and write down all the locations of the Kanto map in their proper spot. Easy stuff. The book rounds out with a movie questionnaire, and then we're finally done. So we obviously scored an impressive Pokemon Master title, but unfortunately the Pokemon Pop Quiz line was just too good to keep at one book. Scholastic saw the money flowing in and commissioned a wonderful sequel, Pokemon Pop Quiz 2, Johto Journeys. So you want to be a master of Pokemon? I didn't know Professor Oak rapped. What a mysterious man he is. Alright, we jump right into Who's My Trainer? I will admit that I haven't actually watched too much of the Johto Journeys. I know. The guy who sang the theme song with the original crew isn't a Johto anime expert. Well, I know that Ash had a Bayleaf and Brock had a Crobat, so maybe I do need to take a break from my journeys and brush up on my facts. Especially since we're hopping straight over into the episode expert questions. What sound keeps Wooper in line? I really hope it's a tambourine. Yes!
See, guys, I knew I could get control of them this way. That's right, come to Brocky. Wait, hold it, stop, help me!
We have another close-up Pokemon guessing game and then some questions. Yada yada. Weighs over 1,000 pounds and loves to eat and sleep? Is this referring to me and my 7 clones? This page has an important note. This kind of makes it sound like Ash discovered this, which is not true. But what is true is that 2 new Pokemon types have been found in the year since our original Kanto adventure. As you know, Steel and Dark. We have some fun evolution mix-ups that actually do make sense except for Jinx. If I could evolve to become a kickboxer instantly, that would be ridiculous. And so is this. Anyway, this book also has something new, and that is in the form of Pokemon Math. I tried thus far not to compare this series to Golden Books, but now it looks like I have to, as this section seems all too familiar to the Pokemon Math series we checked out a little while ago. However, instead of a math book structure, these are all riddles about Pokemon, like how many prongs are on an Elekid's head plus the number of wings a Crobat has. I remember finding out Crobat has 4 wings and having my mind blown, so that's gotta be 6. Some of these, like this one about the number of unknown, get a little tricky, but they're doable. Now we have a crossword. Wow, haven't seen a good Pokemon crossword since... And yet another Gligar Man reference in the next Pokematch because he is just so iconic. Name that Pokemon type. Name that Pokemon. A color quiz in a black and white printed book. This pop quiz has everything. There's this quiz where you're only given the first letter of a Pokemon and you have to guess it. And just when you think X will be left out, you remember Xatu exists. Neat. I mean, they also call Tyrogue 3 times the fun. I don't know about that. This close-up and personal page contains the all-seeing eye of a Sunkern, just staring into our soul. Then true or false, does Officer Jenny have a crush on Brock? Well, that's news to me if that's true. And Super Scramblers, finally using our knowledge that Sentret is called the Scout Pokemon, and that Granbull was called a Fairy Pokemon about 10 years too early. There's also the aptly named Pokemon Stadium 2. You've gotta be kidding me. Which luckily is just another quiz where you select which Pokemon will win in a battle. Team Rocket also drops a hot test in our laps from their point of view, so that's neat. And then, more episode expert questions. What does old man Shuckle do with his berry juice? Obviously, he drinks it for breakfast. Got juice? All in all, this was a faithful sequel to the original Pop Quiz book, and I can now say I'm a Pokemon master and a Johto genius. Just like the best movie franchises, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, they couldn't stop there. Enter Pokemon Pop Quiz 3, Brain Busters. Yeah, right? Like, why? At least this book promises to be more puzzle-oriented, and written by the same person as the second Pop Quiz book, iconic children's author Tracey West. Shout out to you, ma'am. I love Dragon Masters. Great work there. The first challenge we're met with is a memory game. I despise those. But this one's different. Stare at the picture and flip the page to see what you remember. How many pockets does Brock's vest have? I have no idea. Like 6? 4? What kind of a fan am I? Oh, it is 4, of course. That's where he keeps all his frying pans and jelly donuts. We also have a tricky maze to lead Togepi back to Misty, and a Team Rocket word scramble that's a bit underwhelming. Why do they keep doing these? These are terrifying. There's also updated movie questions to include Pokemon 2000, Pokemon 3, and Pokemon Forever. Now we hit the nitty-gritty, the Pokemon questions. Fun fact here, Ash apparently also got a Pokédex upgrade, just like me. Maybe Tracey West should also be put on my list of stalkers. And then the unwelcome return of Pokemon Math. Yay. Something new to this book is a Pokemon logic puzzle. The premise is that Todd Snap, yes, Todd Snap, the anime and video game counterpart they made based on my adventures on Pokemon Island, don't ask about that, is going to see a film and we have to decide which one he and the 3 main heroes each saw based on some clues. Bulbasaur takes a bath. I love that they have to clarify that this movie is for all ages. Todd isn't the only new anime character to join us. There's also Tracey Sketchit. And to find out what he's doing, we need to solve his crazy word test. I don't think I actually care enough about what he's doing to actually do that, but hey. There's another memory test with an insanely cool legendary picture based on Pokemon Master Quest. Wow, and a Pichu Bros inspired word puzzle called It Takes Two, where you have to fill in 2 blanks to complete words. This reminds me a lot of the mobile adapter news download. Very nice. Not again! How about a relaxing bug Pokemon word search? Wait, Shuckle is a bug? What? My whole life has been a lie. We then get an explanation on anagrams, essentially scrambled words. My favorite little bird Pokemon, Tuna. And now we have another mini mystery, the case of the missing Igglybuff, to which I say, just leave that thing missing. Nah, just kidding. Let's see. Ash and the gang found a little girl screaming about her missing Igglybuff, and who do they find but Team Rocket, who say they didn't steal it, but they did see it. Apparently, Igglybuff shot a flamethrower at them and ran away. So that is impossible! Haha, case closed! Team Rocket, while not smart enough to lie about Igglybuff's move pool, apparently make coded messages out of the first letter of Pokemon names. This one reads out, Steal Pikachu tonight. There's also some hidden letter puzzles. Women love it! Wait, that doesn't spell out my name. What's the deal? And another logic puzzle involving fruit. I then read the most important piece of literature I've ever seen called Brock Around the Clock. I wake up and roll out of bed and firmly grasp my jelly donut as I slowly place my mouth around it. Nom 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 nom. Just kidding, it's way less exciting than that. Mostly about his love life, or lack thereof. Speaking of his love life, the next pages are also about Jenny and Joy. Oh boy. And then a third and final mystery, the mystery of the bitten berry. This tale introduces the world to a Pokemon berry that has never been seen before and hasn't been mentioned since. The Bitaberry, an endangered plant species. I dare say that I did not expect to find more lost Pokemon facts, but here it is in plain view. These bright orange berries, as long as they're not misspelled common bitter berries we found on our Johto journey, are something newly discovered here in this book. Lastly, we have one final memory test, which I nearly failed because all I can remember about this is Misty's legs. Okay, so now with the third title of Best Brain Ever, we're finally Scholastic Pokemon Pop Quiz champions. I'm now a Pokemon genius. This has been the Pop Quiz 1, 2, and 3. Remember, Pokemon fans, stay awesome out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, what? A 4th book? There's even more? No, absolutely not happening. This never ends. Every Pokemon Ever is 100% non-profit, by the fans, for the fans, but there is a way that you can help out. We're supporting St. Jude Children's Hospital. Donate today and help end childhood cancer.